Hello and welcome to One Called Mama. I am your host, Sam, and I am so thankful that you decided to join us today. So, today is another interview, and as always, I am excited because interviews are my favorite. Today, we are talking to a dear friend of mine, Cari Wilson. She and I have known each other for since junior high, at least. We had a short time together in junior high, and really just over the years, we have really connected on Facebook again, just watching each other grow our families and just that good old Facebook connection has kept us tied together. And I'm so excited to share her with you today. She has a beautiful family, 5 girls, and her own business. And actually, what I'm really excited to talk about today is because she is multi-passionate. She's a photographer, she's a writer, and now she is a graphic designer and creates her own faith-based Christian images on like t-shirts and hats and tote bags and things like that. So I'm really excited to jump in today and learn more about her and how she's grown her business. And Cari, thank you. Thank you for being here today. I know this is a little nerve-wracking. Sometimes it's not easy to have a camera in your face, but I'm so glad you agreed to do this with me today. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for the invitation. It's definitely different as a mom. I'm normally behind the camera, so this is out of my comfort zone, but I'm here for it because
Yeah,
I love your podcast and I love how you're connecting mamas and really helping your audience feel seen and heard and related to. So,
thank you. Thank you. So can you share just a little bit about yourself?
you kind of hit the high points. I am a stay-at-home homeschooling mama to 5 girls. I'm currently teaching 4. I've been married to my husband for about 17 years. We got married really young.
Mm,
And I'm kind of like the queen of remote work, I guess you could say. Over the years, I have worked on some social media pages. I help manage short-term rental properties. And now I'm working, like you said, on my own graphic design with faith-based graphic tees and things like that. And so I'm just kind of dabbled in all of it. I did photography for a little bit, and that died out. I still have a passion for it, and I still definitely, take lots of pictures of my girls. But
yeah.
I'm focused on being homebound more than anything, just
Mm,
because this is my first job, and so having computer work where I can, work in the evening time while they're in bed, it's suitable, for my life. So.
yeah, absolutely. So, that's interesting that you said that you feel like homebound. I've been feeling that too, that pull and that leading from God that's just like, you need to be here. I've given you these passions. Yes, you're going to do these things, but I want you to stay grounded in home and being with the kids. Is that similar to what you feel as well?
Definitely. I was thinking about it this morning, just how I would describe my role in my home and in my girls' lives. And I don't think I've ever felt as proud of what I do and my journey as I do now.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe it's because it's so counter society right now. It just helps me feel like this is where I belong, and
Yeah.
I do find purpose in it more than anything. Um, just helping my girls grow in their faith, in their own image of who Christ, who they are through Christ, and just helping them, learn along the way. I just really I really find it purposeful here. There's no paycheck to this work, um, but that's not how we measure, our
Mm,
success, and that's not how I measure my value at all. And it's always been comfortable for me to be home, and I'm so grateful that my husband supports me in that, and that his job supports us financially the way that it does, that I
yeah.
can do this. And um, yeah, I just feel proud of the work that I do here. And I feel like lately God has almost opened the floodgates of homeschooling moms and friends, and I'm just finding more and more camaraderie and connection and, relationship with other homeschool moms who are earlier, in their journey than I am.
Mm.
And our oldest is going into 8th grade, so this will be my 9th year. And that's almost so weird to say because I it feels like just yesterday that we've started. So
Wow. Maybe that's almost like validation from the Lord. Like, yeah, I've got you right where you want. Here are these other women. You can mentor them, you can learn from them. That's so neat. That's so
yeah,
neat. I love
yeah, I love
that.
it.
You said something interesting, um, that feeling so purposeful and feeling so like the floodgates open, like you're so proud of where you are, like you're settling in. And I had that moment too where like the first, I'm almost ashamed to admit it, like with our son, it took like the first 18 months for me to really just be okay with not being in the workforce, like accepting that me at home is the perfect place for me. Like, not that I guess in some level I was fighting it. I had, what I thought were valid reasons. We needed the money, we needed this, it was that, there were reasons behind it. But it was almost like once I stopped seeking to fix the problem, and I've talked on this like before, was like, I'm not the source of our stability. I'm not required to fix it. Like, I need to lean on God. The less that I, tried to take it from him and try to fix it myself and just accepted that I am where I am and this is where I need to be and I am fulfilling the purpose I'm supposed to fulfill, it just got so much easier. Not that it's easy, right? But it got easier. Um, I don't know. I felt that when you mentioned that, it just, yeah, that's exactly one of the lessons that I've learned this year so far. One of many.
Well, and I think it comes with like you said, just a calling when you're really in tune with the calling that God has on your life. It makes it easier. And I've just come to a place. It's been a journey, like you said, but I've come to a place where I'm not antiquating my value with markers in society. Um, and I've almost become more bold in it, I guess you can say. Sometimes people will ask me, what do you do for work, or what's your job, or whatever, and I'm just quick to say, oh well, I homeschool 4 kids, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that, and it's all for no paycheck, so but it brings me joy. And I don't have to my success is not defined by how society views me.
So I want to go ahead and jump into this topic because we're talking about like homeschooling and how it was, not really socially accepted in, 80s, 90s, and it is more so today. I think it still has like a stigma attached around it. Um, having a family of five, it seems like anytime you have kids like more than three, people start to look at you kind of funny. So like, have you faced like any difficulties having like five kids, and not to like, I don't want you to really talk bad about anybody. That's not my goal. It's like, how have you dealt with, the having such a big family? And has it been, socially accepted for you? Has it been easy? Has it been a challenge? Let's just explore that topic because I find it an interesting one.
So we definitely stand out in crowds. And it's funny, to preface, we don't feel like we have a big family.
Oh,
um, 5 kids doesn't feel like a lot to us. My husband and I have a pretty good like system, and we're just I don't know, it just works really well for us. And so we don't feel like we have a lot of kids. But we definitely draw attention when we're in public. Probably more so because we have all girls.
yeah.
We do get an array of comments. Some of them are a little bit more intrusive than others. Most of them are, oh, are these all your girls? Are they all sisters? But then we get a lot of comments about their dad, about how he's missing out, about, oh, the teenage years are going to be rough. And people don't really mince their words even when our girls are around. And so I mean, we're becoming more vocal back, not rudely, but just, our girls are right here. Of course we're blessed. Who would we get rid of? Just things like that. To not make it such a big deal, but our girls definitely hear the comments, and we talk about it later. We actually, the last time was on Father's Day, ironically enough. we ran to the store after church, and um, my husband approached the register, and then the girls were behind him, and I was like Mama Duck, leading the pack
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah.
And 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 a lady like counted all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then laughed in his face and said like, haha, happy Father's Day. It just wasn't nice. And
Oh,
so my husband used that as an opportunity that night while we were having dinner. And I asked him first, if there was, one thing in particular that he could identify that he loved being a dad about or with each of the girls. What was just one thing that he liked, that he
mm,
held dear about their relationship, because he
yeah.
obviously has an individual relationship with each of them. And instead of actually making it reflective on him, which is what I asked, he went around the table and just filled them up and lifted them up and said something,
Mm.
two or three things about them and their character and what he loved about, his relationship with them. And it by the end of it, we were all just crying. And even
Oh.
he was crying, and he actually referenced the lady at the store, and he said, everybody thinks that I'm missing out, or that my life is less than, or that there's a void because I have no son. He said, but God chose me to be your father. God chose me to be a girl dad. And he said, I'm living it. Like, this is just
Mm.
this is what I've always wanted. And so it was just a really sweet thing that he took something that somebody said that we could have, focused on, and he just turned it around and said, they have no idea the life that we have here. They don't know the relationships and how special it is. And so it was just really sweet. We try not to make their comments a focus, but there's definitely attention when we go out. And I just kind of roll it off most of the time. And I get nervous actually because I don't want to say something rude. So I'm usually just giggling and I kind of brush it off. But
Mm. I think, half the time I want to assume that most people just don't know how they come across. And true or not, it's best to assume the best of someone than the worst. And I love that he did that. I love that he took the time to just explain and describe how blessed he is that he's their dad. And like you said, that he's not missing out on something just because he doesn't have a son. It's how beautiful is it that God said, you're such a good girl, dad. I'm going to give you 5. And I mean, that's just what a testimony to God's love for him and his love for his girls. That's so amazing. I love that so
yeah, it was so
much.
sweet. Yeah.
How have y'all as someone, I have always had a heart for having a big family, and we have 2, and I'm about to be 35. I don't know if we're going to have any more kids. That's a whole nother topic. But how, say someone out there is wanting a big family and they're not really sure like how they could handle it or how to manage it, or that seems, it seems so hard to just have one, or how do you manage a big family? And I consider it a big family. Like you said, you don't. But how do you manage your family as it is, and as you were having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Like, how did that change and develop for you guys?
Um, I think everybody looks at the size of their family, obviously from their place, from their position. And
Yeah.
so, to you, you may feel like you have a big family, that you have a lot of responsibility, that you and your husband have a lot to juggle, and that you worked out a good system. And so
Right.
everybody, like you said, most comments are coming from just a place of not understanding. And I think it's true. People look at our family from maybe only having 2 kids, or maybe they
Yeah.
had, 2 daughters and it was enough for them. And so they
Yeah.
kind of they kind of come from that place. But for us, I don't know. We kind of had our girls close together. There was a moment in time that I was pregnant, it seemed like almost every year.
Wow.
But it for us, there really wasn't, I don't know, it just felt normal to us. There wasn't really a
Mm,
time where we were like, oh, this is a lot, or oh, maybe we're done. And I think as we get older, I mean, you mentioned being 35. I almost wish I could have my older babies like now in my place now, because I'm just more confident and more secure. I'm calmer. I
mhm.
know, I just feel like I'm a better mom
Yeah.
to my younger babies now than I was earlier on. Our oldest is 13. And so, not to age myself, I mean, I'm older than you, but um, I was young. I was young when we had her. And I kind of grew up raising her. And so um, for us, we were just in, I don't know, we were just in like the good years, where
Mm.
it was no big deal to have another baby. And I know that probably sounds, I don't know, but we already had like a van, and we already had the space for the rooms. And so adding kids was just easy. And in fact, we've discussed maybe an additional, and that's the question that comes up. Well, what do we do for a car? Because
No, right?
we've taken up all the space in this van and stuff. So I will say once we got to like three, and actually our third was our hardest baby. Her newborn phase was just really, really hard. In
Mm.
fact, our third and our fourth are the closest together. They're 18 months apart to the day. And so
Wow.
um, she was 10 months old when I found out I was pregnant with our fourth. And I cried just because her newborn phase was so difficult. She didn't sleep. She was very colicky. We just couldn't. I was nursing and trying to cut out all the dietary things and nothing was working. And so that felt really, really hard.
Yeah.
Um, but it's almost like God knew because our fourth was our easiest baby, hands down. And she was so easy that that's why we had another one because we were like, hey, we can do this again. So um I don't know, it's just it was the good times. And we love having babies. In fact, my husband's probably gonna snicker when he hears me say this next part. Whenever we're in public, he's always the first one to point out another baby. Always. Always. Like even in
Oh.
church, even in church yesterday, there was a sweet mom, rocking her baby, and he leaned in and he's like, "Look at the baby," he's
Oh,
just,
I love
yeah,
that. That's so
yeah.
sweet.
So
Ah,
it's just been a really good journey for us, and it's actually grown us closer. I mean, parenthood I think can divide, or it can just really bring you closer. And
yeah.
it's just been the best journey for us. We've grown so close in our relationship and in our partnership, and just the way that we want to help build this legacy for our kids. And it's a good ride for sure.
Yeah. I've had this thought before, and you kind of confirmed it with with how you're talking about it. And I love that for you, it has always felt so easy and normal. Like, I know you said the third one was kind of hard. Um, but like overall, your experience was just that this was just totally natural. Like this was having more kids was just like, it was kind of just like a no-brainer for you. And I feel like God has families like yours as like a testament to other people like me who see y'all and see how beautiful it is and how um, wholesome and how loving and how lovely. And it's like a testament to the way that God sets up the family with the husband and the wife and the kids, and just the way it's supposed to work. And it's just such an encouragement to me because I'm like, well, she can do it with five, I can do it with two. Like, and I love that. I love that for you. It is just so simple and lovely. And the way that you're like, yeah, we could have another one. Like, yeah, like that could even be a possibility. Like, that's beautiful. And I don't think it is for everyone, and it's not supposed to be. God ordains life, and I fully believe that. So maybe for me, he's called me to have two, but for you, maybe he's called you to have more than five. Like, we don't know. And that's okay. We don't have to know. It's just that he ordains life. He creates that beautiful environment, that beautiful chemistry that y'all have as a family unit. And I just love that. I think that's so, I love big families. I love like looking at like just a mama walking with her kids. Like we were going to church yesterday and we were driving up and there was the mom and dad and then they had three sons and they were all like white blonde and it was so cute. I'm just like I love that. I love watching, families just together and I don't know. I'm rambling now because I'm just kind of going off. But anyway, sorry. I've
No,
always loved the family and kids, and it's just always been such a heart of mine.
yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I'm definitely in my mom era. And I mean, you mentioned just the husband and wife. And I think that's also too, I think what my husband and I have tried focusing on so much is just making sure that we don't lose ourselves
Hmm.
in parenthood. And it's
Yeah.
so easy to do. It's so easy
Yes.
to do, especially when you have challenging, work schedules, or just family circumstances, whatever. We've been blessed to figure our good system, and really have it work, well for us. But I remember earlier on when we were first married, and maybe after we already had one of our girls, it was shared with me that a husband and a wife should love like each other more than they love their children. And that was the weirdest concept for me
Mm.
because I was a new mom and I was like, I would die for this baby. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? Like, this is my purpose. I've always wanted to be a mom. But it's really true because
Mm.
if we can't love our spouse more than our children, then we're not going to fight for our spouse
Mm.
and prioritize them how they should be, because it is so easy to get lost in parenthood. It's so easy to fall into that roommate trap, like, hey friend, nice to see you.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really what's helped us, and that's probably more of my husband's doing than mine, because I can get stuck in mom mode really easy because it's structured and it's scheduled and it's organized, and those things are easy for me. And so he's done a good job just to remind me that, hey, we still have to be husband and wife, because this is the example that we're setting for our girls in their future marriages. And then eventually we're not going to have kids at home. So what's the marriage that we're going to be left with at the end of that, when we're no longer being mom and dad
Mm.
to little
Such a
kids?
good
So
point.
um yeah.
That's an excellent point you bring up, and one that I do struggle with, because I do love them so fiercely. And we've definitely experienced the roommate phase, and having such young kids. um our second baby was really, really tough. Like, he was hard. So just managing all that, and really just it's been difficult. It's been difficult to learn. And yeah, I would say we're still figuring it out, for sure, because that's hard to not make the kids a priority. um, and to find ways to, I guess I would like to say, as court your spouse the way that you did when you were actually, dating before you were married, and even like in the honeymoon phase of after marriage, is like still pursuing them and making them feel special and loved. That's so important, and that's really, really hard to do when most days you feel like you're just kind of just barely getting by, right? And even if it's just the littlest things to connect with your partner, it can be easy, but it's simple is not always easy. Simple, but maybe not always easy. So it's a very good reminder. I'm really glad you brought that up.
No, for sure. And when when you're stuck in, just when you're deep in the parenthood years, because I don't want to ever diminish the importance of that. I mean, obviously we are given these children, by God, and they are our, priority and
Mm.
our purpose. But there's so much we can teach them from our marriage, and they're always looking, even when you don't think they are.
Yeah.
They're always listening, and it almost makes it more challenging because just the spotlight's on you. But yeah, it is hard for sure. It's not, we have seasons,
Yeah.
where it just comes really easy, and then we have seasons where we're drained, and
Yeah.
it just always takes that extra effort, and sometimes you just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it's okay to not try so hard, but it's always important, and we always want to make sure that we're giving our best efforts, because our girls are watching. And even when we don't think, like I said, he'll just, find me in the kitchen and he'll give me a hug and a kiss, and all of a sudden you hear, "Oh."
Oh.
Like, there are children behind us, apparently. We weren't sure of that, but now we are.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. That's so sweet. Okay, so how do you find balance, or maybe counterbalance is a better term, in managing the family and also managing your business? Like, what do you have in place? Do you have a routine, a system, a little bit of everything? Like, let's talk through how you manage these things.
Oh, do I? No. Um, so like I said, I mean, my priority is my home life and school with the girls. And I wish I could devote more time, to my businesses on the side, because I have hopes for them to flourish and to grow and to maybe be something bigger later down the road when I think I'm gonna have more time. Um, so I don't have really a clear cut like schedule or structure, and that's probably where I can benefit from. I have recently trimmed down my workload a little bit. Like I said, I had some side, contract projects and things, and I needed to release some of that, because it was just getting to the point where I was falling in bed at night completely exhausted.
Yeah.
And if as soon as the kids went to bed, I was on the computer for hours, and I just didn't have time for me. And it got to the point where I was helping other people, and I know there's purpose in this, but I was helping other people build their businesses,
Hmm.
and mine was kind of just sitting idle. And
Yeah.
that I don't know, it just felt like this is time for me to grow something for me. And um I I really want to just come up with more of a set schedule for myself, just so that I have better goals and can, be more consistent. When I started my recent graphic tee design business, I wasn't taking into consideration the fact that I was going to also have to just have a really good online presence, social
Yeah.
media. I don't like doing that. That's
Yeah.
kind of out of my comfort zone again. I've published blogs, and I've been in an online magazine, and that's just different because it's all words. I can type up something and submit it and have it be on there, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
people are telling me you have to make reels and you got to post pictures of yourself, and I'm like, what? I want to do that. I don't know what's trending, and that's not even what I want to do. That's not the business I want to grow. I don't want
Yeah.
to be a social media influencer. I want to just be a business owner. And so my growth is not as substantial as I've seen other businesses, just because my online presence isn't that great. But I enjoy the work. It's artistic for me. It's kind of an outlet. It's just something that I can do. And my girls love it, oddly enough. They love when I bring in, graphic tees for them, and
Yeah.
it's just so sweet. They always love sitting with me, and that's another thing. It's something that, at night when my littles go to bed, I can have my oldest sit with me, and she likes to go over
Mm.
designs, and she'll help me pick a good font, and she'll basically just design a shirt she wants me to print for her. So um
That's so fun.
but it's just I'm okay with it taking its time, because I've got time. Like I said, with my husband's job and his support, he's always told me, like, this is the time that you're able to grow something, even if it takes a while, because you're at home, and he's able to pull so much of the weight, for our home economics. And so I'm okay with it taking time. It doesn't have to be an overnight sensation. I don't have to be this, super popular social media influencer. I can just do this for me, and kind of take my girls, along the ride. I've done some markets, and my oldest has gone with me, and it's just the cutest thing. She loves all the tech stuff. She loves helping with the sales and packaging up
Yeah.
the products, and she's just into it. And so I love that it gives us something, we can do together.
Yeah. You know, a lot of times, and I've over the last, let's see, at least more than 5 years, God has like, he'll tell me to do something. He'll be like, I want you to do this. And then I'll do it for a period. I'm like, okay, now do this. And I'll do it. And he's like, okay, do this. And I swear, it's like over the last 5, maybe 8 years, he has done that. And, in the moment, you're kind of like, well, where is this going? Like, what is, why am I doing this? And each time I've been like, okay, I'll do it. Yes, fine, let's do this. And the hardest one for me, other than the podcast, was I almost don't want it to be. Good luck finding it. But I had, for a stint of like 6 months, I had an ASMR channel. And if you don't know what ASMR is, the basic what it means is that you help people fall asleep. I
Right.
didn't want to do it. I hated it. I mean, I won't say I hated it. I didn't really enjoy it too much. Like it was kind of fun at first. It was just interesting and new, but I really didn't like love it. And I know that the reason he wanted me to do that was because it would prepare me for the podcast. I do know that much. I had equipment. I was familiar with how YouTube worked. All of these things, it helped me prepare for this show. But all of these random things he'll tell you to do, and you don't see the big picture. And sometimes you may never. But all he wants is you to just say yes and do it because it has a purpose. We don't know where anything goes. I don't know. This show could end tomorrow and I wouldn't know because it's all his, right? And he started it. He's like, you do this and let's take it. And I'm good with whatever he does with it. Obviously I have ambitions. I have dreams, I have goals for it. I want certain things for it. But as long as it aligns with his will and with beloved reflection, uh you just don't know, right? You just don't know what the purpose is behind it. Maybe it's to teach your daughters how to run and build a business. Maybe it's because you're just supposed to meet that one person at that show or that company, and maybe it's for an entirely different reason. And we just don't know. And it's all about just our obedience behind it. And I love that you enjoy it and that you're just doing it for the sheer fact that it's good for you and that you get pleasure out of it. So often we try to tie meaning and whether it's success or value, like monetary value to something that we do, but really just the fact that we enjoy it and it gives us a creative outlet is enough. Having guilt around doing something that isn't related to the kids or the family is, I think, common among the mother community that we like. If we're not doing something for someone else and we're just doing it for ourselves, it's selfish. I don't know about you, but I feel that way. I feel that way.
Right. Yeah. It's always been I don't know, it's always been something, like I said earlier, with, antiquating value for motherhood. It's kind of the same thing because you look at my financials and someone can ask me, why are you still in business? Because it's like you said, it's something I enjoy doing. Um, I don't know what it's going to lead to. For some reason, God has allowed it to continue and it has flourished. It's just been very slow. Um, but for me, my it's kind of multifaceted. So how it all started, I guess, the creation of Beloved Reflection was with writing. It was actually after we had our third daughter that I just took to Facebook and started blogging about something. I think somebody had made a comment to me in the grocery store about our baby because she was really upset. She was the one who was colicky. And it just upset me the way that it garnered so much attention in the store when I was just trying to shop, and it just made me feel really seen in the wrong ways, and I just wanted to go
Mm.
home. And so I just went home and I took to my keyboard, and the support that I got from that one article, that one post, really just pushed me to keep writing because everybody was saying, just keep writing. Like, you need to create a blog. Like, this is amazing. This is what you're meant to do. And I always enjoyed writing. I just didn't realize I would have an audience. And so that's kind of how it started, was the umbrella for it was just that I love to write. And it's funny, I haven't done it in a while because life got busy and I was busy doing other, business things. But anytime I go back to it, it always feels like home. It always just feels
Yeah.
like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Mm.
And I remember, earlier on, um, my husband was also trying to encourage more social media presence because he, said that's what's gonna, push you, to your algorithms and push your presence and get you seen. And it was just frustrating because I don't want to write for that. I don't want to write to become popular. The content that I create is usually either something I've experienced or something that God's put on my heart. And sometimes I feel like, oh, no one's going to relate to this or no
Mm.
one's going to really understand what I'm saying. And it's almost like those are more impactful And it got to the point that the messages I would receive from friends or followers, but mostly, other mom friends that maybe I hadn't connected with in a while, um, those were validation to me that that's exactly what I was supposed to be writing on, because
Yeah.
it connected with that one person. It helps that one person, feel a certain thing, or it resonated in them. And it actually has kind of changed the way even my husband looks at my content, because he said, maybe you're not supposed to, reach the thousands. Maybe you're just supposed to reach that one mom that
Oh,
nobody could that day. And and
yeah.
and that really, that to me gives me purpose, that I don't have to have this big grand endeavor to make a difference.
Yeah.
Um, God could just literally connect me to the moms who don't have a community, to the moms who are struggling with their homeschool journey, or maybe with new babies like I was, and just to help connect, and so they're not so alone.
That's so beautiful and so true. Uh, like we've stated, I guess this is the third time now. Uh, what what society places value on is not what God places value on. And when He asks us to do these things, like your writing, like this podcast, it is not going to mean that He's going to give you the success that someone else would consider successful. He's not, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that, you're going to have all these sales or all these followers or all of these subscriptions. Like, no, maybe he is just wanting you to reach, like you said, that one person that needs to hear what you have to say. And that reminds me of the book, I've referenced this before, Called to Create. Have you ever read that book?
I have not.
Okay. I recommend it to every creative out there. And if an entrepreneurial, I hate that word, entrepreneurial people are creatives. So if you're an entrepreneur, you are also should read this book. It's it gives a Christian perspective of building a business and creating, and it's just so powerful. And there was a section in the book that talked about how if a company would build around what the need is versus around what the bottom dollar is, how the world would change. Because there are
Yeah.
so many things, like so many places in this world where it's needing the light of Christ, and it's needing people like you who are business minded, who are entrepreneurial, who can fill that void. And it's so beautiful to see that when you do step into your passion, which also happens to be your giftedness, which also happens to be what God called you for, because he created all of you and everything about you, and knew that, she's going to love writing and it's going to help this person over here. I mean, when you step into that, beautiful things happen. I just love that. That what you said is really the heart of this show.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's, you have to be grounded, like I said
Mm,
earlier. You have to be grounded in in who you are in Christ, and you have to
yes.
be rooted in your true purpose. Because if you are trying to be trendy, if you are trying to fit the mold of what's popular, of what sells, because you want a successful business, you may be missing out on the true blessing, of God's provision for your business and your endeavor.
Yeah.
And so I'm always trying to check myself that I'm not ending up in the trap of trendiness,
Yeah.
because trendy sells, sure. If anybody wants something super trendy, they can go find it somewhere else, because I'm just not, that's not my goal. And um a couple of times at some of the shows that I've or the markets that I've taken a booth to, um, people will stop and say, "Oh, you've got Christian stuff here," like it's still kind of not normal, And I'm like, "Yes, I do," So, and it's, I just want to be sure that what I'm creating is something that my children can be proud of.
Yeah.
I will never forget a couple of years ago when, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, our oldest asked if she could just read all of my articles, and she just wanted to read my writing. And at first I was a little hesitant, because it's mom centered, wife centered, just adult, not inappropriate, but just adult content. And
Right.
I at first didn't necessarily want her to know those inner workings of my spiritual walk or my mind or whatever, but she loved it. She loved it. She could not put them down. Every day, it took her a
Mm,
few days to kind of go through them, and she just loved it. And she, I don't know, I think maybe she appreciated that. Yes, I stay at home with them, and they think that I'm amazing because I'm their mom, even the days I don't deserve that credit.
yeah.
But I think it just gave her a different perspective
Mm,
of what it means to be a Christ follower, and that you don't have to do elaborate things.
yeah.
You can just sit and basically, just talk to somebody and publish a post, and it connects to the heart of another mom. And I don't even feel like I'm doing anything extraordinary. I'm literally just writing. But so many of my sweet friends are just like, "Oh my gosh, you said exactly what I couldn't say." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay."
Yeah.
It's just it comes easy, and I want my girls to always understand that they don't have to be like anybody else, that God's created them exactly how they are, and He has put in them, their own shine, their own,
Mm,
uniqueness. And that's actually why we homeschool, because we want to help foster in them their individuality, and that means helping them learn in the way that they learn best.
yeah.
It means, helping encourage them in the areas where they need that encouragement. It's just sometimes people sometimes people look at our family because we have five girls, and sometimes I think they think it's boring because, oh, we've got five girls. Well, not a single one of them is exactly alike. They are all
Right.
different. They all have different personalities. They dress differently. They act differently. They like different activities. And so we have five individuals. And I think that's just always a reminder to me that they're going to learn differently. They're going to have different interests. They're going to grow in their walk with Christ differently. But
Yeah.
like as long as we can always make sure that we're pointing them back to Christ, then they're going to grow exactly how they're supposed to. And they don't have to do big things to make a big impact for the kingdom. They just have to make sure that they're always following after God, because then
Amen.
they're going to be doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Amen. Yeah, love that. I love that so much. And see, you do write beautifully. You speak beautifully too. I love just listening to you articulate this because you have that gift of putting words to feelings. Because as a mom, I feel that. I feel what you just said. I couldn't say it as well as you just said it. But I feel that in my heart and my soul. I'm like, yes, that's so right. That's 100% how I feel. Um, I love that. And I mean, do you ever see, you have the photography, you have the graphic design, and you have the writing, and it sounds like the writing is really your heart. Do you ever see those things really coming together and turning into something there? I mean, have you ever thought about the possibility of what it would look like when those three things merged?
Um, I mean, it would be great to use all three, have them all coincide with one another. I'm not sure. I think it's one of those things, like you said, sometimes God will say, come here and then do this and then do that. And then, okay, this is next. And so I think more than anything, I would just wait for him to show me how to use all three of those together. It's pretty extensive. I have stepped away from photography for the time being, because that took me away from the home. And I
Mm,
still love to do it because it's a beautiful art. And I even now, my husband and I took a trip together a couple of weeks ago, and I look at everything. I feel like I'm looking at everything through a camera lens. I'm like, oh, that's a good shot. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, this is the best angle. And sometimes it doesn't let me really enjoy the moment or where I'm at, because I'm like, it's okay to not take a picture of something. You're
yeah,
remembering it. You're taking
yeah,
it in, like, with your eyes, and that's okay too.
yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I think, like I said, I think writing would probably be something that I would pursue um in the long run too. It's it's therapeutic to me. It kind of helps me through certain seasons too. And it as a stay-at-home mom, sometimes you can get stuck in just being home all the time. And so writing almost connects me to my audience and my friends and stuff too, because it's just a little bit of me that I put, out in public and let interact with people. And so um I would love to write a book. I'm not sure what that would look like.
Yeah.
People tell me all the time I should just write about being a mom to 5 girls. And again, I don't think it's really extraordinary because this is just my normal. This is my life. But I don't want to do anything right now that just takes away from, my time with them. I'm sure I'll have plenty of time when they're grown. My husband and I will be off traveling somewhere, and I can be reflective and write stories then. But I'm not sure how God will use it. I'm anxious, and I think that's another thing that I'm content where I'm at, but I'm also expectant for the future.
Mm.
Because I'll be willing, for however he wants me to use these things. I'll be willing to do that. I would just love it if he could tell me sooner. That'd be great.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if God just told us, like, just do this or just do that? Instead, he's lately been saying, well, just take a step, see what happens.
Right,
You just have
right,
to walk out in faith, and that's tricky. But he's with you every step of the way, though. Like, you're never gonna fall,
for
which is
sure,
always so good, a good feeling to know that you're not gonna fall. He's got you.
for sure. Well, and if we knew what step 5 was going to be like, would we really put our whole heart into step 2s and 2 and 3, and would we really put in the work and commit ourselves, or even yield and be obedient? So I know that's not the answer. It would just be convenient sometimes.
It would be so nice. I was sitting here thinking, talking about your writing and everything. I could see you putting a book of some kind together, and maybe it was like a letter addressed to each child. So like
Mm.
a chapter is the name of each daughter, and it's
You're gonna get
just,
me to cry already.
yeah, like I could see that. I could see it being just a memoir of each daughter, and it's just you reflecting on your relationship with each one, and like maybe milestones and things like that. I could totally see that. Or just a collection of all of your writings, or a
Mhm.
newsletter. I mean, really the possibilities are endless, and when you have these different, when passion meets purpose and creativity, something beautiful always happens. And so just, leaning into it, playing with it, asking God to show you, and be like, well, what if I did this, or what could be here, and just praying about it, because he'll show you, and it'll be an amazing journey to see what he does with you, and how he brings all these things together. I really do love. I want to talk about your designs, and I want to talk about the name of your company, because Beloved Reflection is so beautiful. What does that mean to you?
This is actually the first time that I've ever answered publicly. Um, Nobody's really ever asked either, so that's interesting. But um, I don't know. For me, it's definitely representative of my walk with Christ. Because there were years in junior high and high school, and even years in my early 20s in our marriage when we first got married, where I wasn't comfortable with who I was, and I didn't know who I was in Christ. And I was almost trying to portray this person that I
Mm,
wasn't. And I wasn't even doing it well. It was just an ugly mess. And I was trying to convince people I was a certain way, or even convince myself that I wasn't really who I was. And it was just this really big identity crisis, literally. And it wreaked havoc. It wreaked havoc on my soul. It wreaked havoc in our marriage, because it came with a whole lot of other baggage. And it really wasn't until God was working in our marriage and working in me as a mom. We had already had a couple of our girls, and it was through that work and that growth and that discovery of myself that I could actually see who I was in Christ. And for so long I had demeaned my value and
mm,
just not really taken hold of my purpose and who I was meant to be. And so for me, beloved reflection was just me seeing the beauty that I was,
Mm.
um, through
Wow,
Christ.
that's
No,
beautiful.
I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just that it's that I could see who I was, and that for there was a period of time in junior high and high school where I remember just looking at myself in the mirror, and I just wasn't happy with who I was. I wasn't happy or proud of who I saw. I didn't think I was beautiful. It was just a lot of things, and it wasn't even because I had a bad childhood or a broken
Mhm.
home. I mean, our family life was fine. I had a father who loved me. I had a mom who loved me. I mean, our family was good, but I think it really goes to show that while we can have those earthly things and we can have the earthly family structure and relationship, if you still don't have a closeness with the heavenly father and you still don't know who you are in Christ, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I could tear down myself as good as anybody else, and so for me it was just really understanding who I was, and that I could look at myself, I could see my reflection, and I could know that I was loved and that I was beautiful.
Wow.
So that's that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's lovely. What a testimony. And I think the name of your company, it has always stood out to me. It's such a beautiful name, Beloved Reflection. I mean, that's it's beautiful. And there's just clearly a story there. Thank you for sharing that. So
Well, for
let's
sure.
talk.
And I
No,
think I
sorry, go
think
ahead.
too, it's always not ironic. I mean, God has purpose for sure, but I find it ironic that I have five daughters because I could have looked at myself during those years and just not see that I was worthy of being a mom to girls. And so I think even in this journey of motherhood, there's been redemption that
Mm.
God sees me suitable to steward these girls, and that I can build them up and just pour into them, and help them see themselves through Christ. So it's all full circle for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There is no doubt. There is no doubt you're going to be able to be there and help them when they struggle with those types of things, their identity and who they are and um, their value. That's huge. So I want to talk about your designs. I want everyone who's listening to check Cari out and check out her company because her stuff is so beautiful. Um, I love everything you make. I think it's so unique. It's so beautiful. It's vibrant. It's unique. So, like, what is your? I mean, I know a lot of your stuff is scripturally based.
Mhm.
How do you come up with your designs other than just what the Bible gives visually, like with its words? Like, what does that look like for you?
That's the fun part. So I really there's no rhyme or reason for me. I have a thing. My husband and I, it's really me. He doesn't see colors well. I don't know if that's like a guy thing.
It is.
So
It can be.
we have our room is painted seafoam green, and if you were to ask him what color it is, he would say it was blue. And it's not blue. And so I love the science behind colors. I can basically look at a color and tell you if there's blue in it or if there's yellow in it. Like the undertones, I don't know why I can see that. And so just designing it on that part is fun because that's where the artistic nature comes in. And then yeah, I've just really enjoyed, tying in scripture because I had posted about this a while ago. I mean, we're walking billboards when we wear graphic tees, and I've seen some pretty vulgar ones like window stickers on the back of cars and stuff too. We're at a red light and all my kids can read, and I'm like, oh, please don't look at that. So our kids are always paying attention. And so like I said, I want to design something that even my kids can wear and that my girls will want to put in their closet. And so I'm not focused on being trendy. I want to be truthful in my designs. I don't think we have enough of that. And
Mhm.
to just show the truth, and I hope that my designs connect to moms. Maybe they're funny, or maybe it's something that stands out to them while they're in a grocery store and they're having a hard time. And just for women
Mm.
to know that they're valued and that they're loved and that they have purpose in this life. And a shirt may or may not do that. And it's just been a fun journey for me to come up with these designs. And I always think of new ones, and that's going back to the structure of my business. I need to have like a notebook or something that I can jot my stuff down, because I never remember when I sit down to work what I thought of earlier, the
Yes.
mom brain. And so
Yeah.
I need to be more purposeful in that. But yeah, I definitely just want it to be, founded in truth and scripture. And I'm trying to make a mix of things of, what people, what appeals to people if they've got chickens at home, or if they're just more, if they like florals, or, if they're country
Yeah.
or whatever. So,
Yeah. So, I think I have like one of the last things I would really love to ask you, business or personal wise, what has God been showing you over the last 6 months?
that I don't have to have it all figured out. It goes back to
Mm,
what you were saying. We may not know what the next step is, but we know what this current step is. And he may have something completely different planned, and it's always going to be greater, and it's always going to be more beautiful and better than what we, can make up ourselves. And so I think probably just yielding in a few areas of my life. I like to control things. I think when, when you're a stay-at-home mom, or kind of establish your own environment at home, if you're, homeschooling your kids, and everything just needs to be structured. And
yeah.
unfortunately, there's not really a switch to turn that off, for the other areas of your life where that control isn't needed. And so I
Yeah.
think for me, it's just kind of yielding and just being content, that I don't have to fix everything. I don't have to figure everything out. I can enjoy the stage that I'm in, the phase that I'm in. Not that there's not good use in planning. My husband is a planner. I'm like well, hey, let's figure out the next 10 minutes, because I have no idea what's happening in the next 2 weeks. So he's the planner, and I'm trying to pick up a little bit of that, because there's purpose in that. I think that's where you can be ambitious about, goals and things. But for me, it's just really being content and yielding to whatever direction, God is going to take this, and whether that's our family life or my business. And just being ready and willing to move too, because I think if we sit and we think too long about it, we're going to talk ourselves out of it,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and convince ourselves all the reasons why we shouldn't do our friend's podcast. And um, so I think sometimes we just have to say yes, because you have no idea what's going to come of it, and just yield and give up that control. Yes also means I trust you,
Yeah.
and that's a little hard.
It is. It is hard. I am so glad you did agree to do the show because because there were some moments where I was like, "Oh, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen." And I'm so glad you said yes. I'm so glad.
Me too. Me too.
Oh. So for the listeners today, how can they get in touch with you? Like, how can they check out your store, check out what you're doing right now?
So my primary thing, and I'm trying to merge a little bit of my writing and my blogging onto my graphic tee page and website, just to help kind of bring those two together. But my website for my graphic tees is belovedreflectiondesign.com.
Okay.
And then my Facebook page is the same name, Beloved Reflection Design. And like I said, I'm trying to get more writing over to that, and
Yeah.
just to help it not be so salesy, because I don't like being salesy.
Yeah.
I'd like to have just more meat, more content, and I feel like that's when I can connect better with people. So
Okay.
I would love a follow. That would be
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, and I will also make sure that I include all of those links to Beloved Reflection, so you can check Cari out, check out her Facebook page, check out some of the things that she's written in the past. I know we talked about how maybe you're not writing as much, but there's definitely things that you can go back and read what she has written. They're beautiful. Um, yeah, this has been great, Cari. I've loved this. I've loved our time together. I've loved learning from you. You're a beautiful soul. So thank you for being here.
Thank
I
you so
really
much.
appreciate
I'm
you.
really honored. I'm really honored, and I'm also anxious and anticipating to see how God blesses this for you and how he grows it. So
Thank
you're
you.
going to do a great thing.
Oh, thank you. I'm so humbled that he chose me to do something as awesome as this, because it really is just such a wonderful opportunity. So yeah, thank you for that. Any prayers that you want to send up for me as I as I figured it out, because I'm definitely not a pro, learning a lot. So yeah, I appreciate it. Awesome. Well,
Sure.
thank you. Thank you for being here. I love you. Everyone who has listened today, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you were blessed. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below. If you have a prayer request or would like to reach out to me, you can do so at onecalledmama@gmail.com. And until the next episode, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Talk to you soon.